he's meeting today with the 49ers. Adam Schefter reported it. Ryan Clark reported it on NFL Live. Aiyuk actually requested the meeting. And from what the reports are, he's taking negotiations somewhat personally. And the Niners, what I got to think are lowball offers, have maybe affected his psyche a little bit. As I said, he requested the meeting. The other detail that we got is his choice is to play for the 49ers, but he is comfortable playing elsewhere if they are willing to trade him. So that's all we got. What's your takeaway from the news of the day that Aiyuk called this meeting?
Could you explain how Jaden Daniels factors into this news? I'm a little confused here. Ryan Clark brought him up.
Yeah, so I'm going to share the screen so people can check this out. I'm going to play this off the X. This was Clark sharing this. Okay, let's. There we go. Here we go. Hold on.
He did not walk into the room.
Here, we'll get this back to the beginning. Here's Ryan Clark on ESPN NFL Live, I believe.
And I will tell you this: when he sat with us, he did not walk into the room alone. First, it was Brandon Aiyuk. Second, it was Jaden Daniels. I'm not a tea leaf reader, but the way that sounds is that Brandon Aiyuk wouldn't mind playing in Washington. And I will.
Okay.
Well, I mean, or they're, maybe they're next door neighbors. Where does he live? Does he live in Rockland? I know he spent time in Rockland. Do we know where Aiyuk lives?
I'm not sure. I think he's in Reno. But all I know is that he and Jaden Daniels are very close. They played together in college. They're very good friends. Seems to be closer with Daniels than Brock Purdy, and he's close with Purdy. Also, the general manager in Washington is Adam Peters. And it seems like it's possible he could be messing with the Niners. Like, hey, you want to extend Brandon Aiyuk? Well, I'm going to make it harder for you because we want him to. And our quarterback's better friends with him than your quarterback is. And we have more money to pay than you do. And also, like, isn't it tampering for Adam Peters to call up Aiyuk's agent and start throwing around numbers? What they could do, though, is go through Daniels. Right.
Like,
hey, tell Brandon 31.
We'll go to 32 right now. He's worth
you
every
didn't hear
penny.
it from me, right? Like it seems like they could be sort of tampering without tampering, and that Washington's a really interesting team to look at in this whole thing because Adam Peters knows him, Jaden Daniels knows him. They seem to want him. Interesting.
Well, this goes back to wasn't it like 4 or 5 days before the draft where they were pictured together on was it the IG saying, hey, 4 days from now, 5 days from now, fireworks, expect fireworks. And then the draft came and went. We didn't really get any fireworks. I don't know.
Think about it, right? Like Adam Peters is the good cop right now. The Niners are playing bad cop. You're not that good. You're overrated. You're not worth as much as you think. And Adam Peters can just be whispering through Jaden Daniels, man, they're screwing you over, man. Come play with us. We love you. You're phenomenal. I'd want to play for that team too, assuming that's what's going on.
And, to add more to that, it's very easy to look at the Commanders as a team that has lots of pieces that would be intriguing to the 49ers. I mean, there's a lot of talk that Jonathan Allen could be traded for because they already paid Daron Payne. They added Dorrance Armstrong. They added Cleveland Farrell. And if Jonathan Allen was available, if I'm the 49ers, I'm looking at how important they value the D-line. How would you not want Jonathan Allen? I mean, they just drafted Johnny Newton, so they could theoretically slide Newton right into Jonathan Allen's spot and not miss a beat. The Commanders also have Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Luke McCaffrey, Christian's brother. They have some pieces there. They're supposedly disenchanted with Emmanuel Forbes, who was their first-round draft pick corner from the previous regime. He's interesting, very exciting corner. So, they do have pieces to the puzzle that could easily, help the 49ers feel very comfortable with moving Aiyuk. I guess the question is, do you feel comfortable moving Aiyuk? Obviously the Niners, and they're inside their Super Bowl window. Why would they want to move Aiyuk? He's their best receiver. But if he's going to hold out all year, maybe it's better for them to move Aiyuk.
Well, there's two things going on here. Washington, Adam Peters could whisper through Jaden Daniels, tell Brandon we'll pay him whatever he wants. Yes, he's worth 31, 32, 33. It's another thing for Adam to then turn around and give John Lynch what he wants in the trade. Because does John Lynch want to seem like he's losing a trade
to
his former underling who left? No. Like John, like that's not going to happen. So maybe they'll pay Brandon, but will they give the Niners a first-round pick? And if the answer is no, then Brandon's going to have to wait. And that might be
does a first-round pick, is that what even you'd want at this point? To me, I mean, if you're the 49ers, if you trade Brandon Aiyuk for any collection of 2025 draft capital, that's a loss.
It doesn't help. So what I would want, I'd want Terry McLaurin.
24th.
I'd want Terry McLaurin. To me, that's a similar player, a couple years older, a little cheaper, more than the Niners price. If they're offering $26 million a year, McLaurin's cheaper than that. And he's just as good as Aiyuk, just a little bit older. That's what I would do.
He's not quite, Aiyuk's 26. I think McLaurin's 28 or 29.
29, yeah.
Yeah.
So
McLaurin's had great production in his career. I might, but are you saying straight up? Are you saying Aiyuk straight up for McLaurin?
You could balance it out with some picks, Washington. Yeah. Those in a
or
third.
What if their dream is to pair McLaurin and Aiyuk together? Would you take McCaffrey's brother? Would you take Dotson? Would you take that defensive lineman, Jonathan Allen?
Maybe Jonathan Allen. That's interesting.
How confident are you in the Niner defensive front? I thought their defensive line last year was an embarrassment at the end of the year.
I don't think much of Hargrave right now. And when they traded for Malik Collins, my first reaction was, who's Malik Collins?
Right. Now he looks good in these Coach Yak Twitter videos, but let's see it when the lights are shining bright.
Coach Yak.
He
blocked me.
Coach Yak putting Collins running around cones, but something tells me it's a little different when you put the pads on.
Larry, was he doing anything in OTAs or minicamp?
I didn't see him.
No.
Didn't see him.
He missed the first 3 weeks because his daughter was graduating, and then when he got there, they felt he wasn't ready to practice, so we watched. So he may be great, but we haven't seen him do a damn thing yet.
Yeah. I'll say this. I wasn't looking for him, but I didn't see him. I didn't see Jordan Elliott, though, either. Was Jordan Elliott there?
I didn't see him. I saw Malik Collins standing and watching because I was looking for him, but Jordan Elliott, I forgot to look for. But yeah, good point.
I didn't notice him either. I did.
What did you see from Yetur Gross-Matos?
He looks like something, that's for sure. He's 6'6", 270. He looks like a guy who, he always was he was a late bloomer with tons of physical potential, and it's a technique-rich position. So I think there's lots of good reason to believe that he's an improving player.
I think he's going to start.
I kind of like the way they played their free agent hand a little bit, Grant, from the standpoint of I felt like they got that guy off of his best year. I felt like they got Yadam off of his best year. That sometimes, the light goes on and players do improve.
Also, Leonard Floyd for what they got him for is terrific. You don't need to be spending a ton of money on edge rushers to get good production. I think the Ravens proved that last year with Clowney. If you have a good scheme and a good overall defense, you can get a hell of a season out of an edge rusher who's in his 30s, who's not that desirable around the league. So I thought Floyd was perfect. I bet you Gross-Matos is going to start, though. The Niners need to actually take run defense seriously. And I think having Floyd play 50% of the snaps and only play on passing downs and being a 2-point stance would help him too.
No question. Gross-Matos, playing the run on first and second down, Floyd on passing downs and key third downs.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the plan. But back to the Commanders for just a sec. I know Niner fans love Aiyuk, and I know the consensus is going to be if Aiyuk's not back, it's like they screwed it up. But I could make an argument that look at I was watching the Super Bowl again the other night. You know who played really well in the playoffs and in the Super Bowl? Conley.
Yeah.
He made an incredible play on coverage. He also made a big catch. He made a couple catches in the playoffs leading into the Super Bowl. He's not old. He's big. He's strong. He's fast. In their current alignment, he's cut. And so's Danny Gray, and so's Ronnie Bell, and so's Tame Martin, and so's all those guys. They're all cut. So I just kind of wonder, it's like, if the Niners want to win the Super Bowl, is their best deal to pay Aiyuk big bucks and cut all these receivers that are NFL worthy? Or is it to trade Aiyuk for Jonathan Allen and McCaffrey's brother, or trade him for Jonathan Allen and Jahan Dotson, or trade him for Terry McLaurin and Jonathan Allen? Whatever. Trade him for a defensive lineman and something else, and maybe bolster your team there. Because I got some questions about that D line.
I think what's rough about the Aiyuk situation is like you're seeing a lot of teams now at wide receiver extend their first round pick after 3 years. Like the Eagles just did it with Devontae Smith and the Dolphins just did it with Jalen Waddle. But the Niners don't do business that way. And I don't really know why. They could have extended Brandon Aiyuk last year. And if they had, they probably could have gotten him for $24 million a year, 25. Now they're offering 26 and it's like a slap in the face. Like they could have gotten out in front of this and they only have themselves to blame. But at a certain point, you can't just give a player whatever he wants. And I think it's like 26 million is probably right around what he's worth to them. Maybe he's worth more to Washington, but I think at this point they're probably handling it correctly. And if they were to just give him a contract extension worth $30 million, I think they would inevitably regret it.